Today we're going to talk about why some probate sales fall apart right before closing. It's important for you to know that you can avoid many different possible mistakes that estate representatives make simply by hiring yourself a professional like us who can help guide you through the process. How do we help guide you? Well, first off, we're going to help you avoid messes like these potential ones that we'll talk about today. Once you're under contract with a potential buyer, it's important for you to make sure that your side of the street is clean. So, first, you're going to ensure that any contractual agreements that you've made in your contract with this buyer, so in their offer and possibly your counter offer, right, that you're going to follow through with all of your contractual obligations. So, for example, if you've agreed to repairs, it's important that you follow through on making sure those repairs take place prior to the close of escrow, or if it's in your agreement after. We typically don't recommend having any repairs done post-closing simply because it does potentially put you in a situation where the buyers own the property, but you're responsible for paying for the repairs. It's kind of just messy. So we usually make sure that all repairs take place prior to a property closing escrow. An example of this, we just had a client who closed escrow in La Mesa, and the property was beautifully renovated. They actually had plans to potentially rent it. So they had put in new flooring, had painting done, there was yard work that had been completed. They had had a pool that was no longer in use removed legally with permits. I mean, all sorts of work had been done. The exterior had been painted. They brought in new appliances for the kitchen. It was a beautifully renovated home. We received lots of offers on that property. The buyers who were picked had a above-priced offer that they had put in. And we went to the inspection. My business partner, Kim Ward, and I went to the inspection so that we could attend and inform our client of anything that potentially had gone awry. Well, this particular scenario was an unusual one, but the plumbing in the property was completely decimated by years and years and years of use. There had been cast iron piping that had basically dissolved into the ground under parts of the property. Our client felt that it was her responsibility to make sure that this had been repaired prior to the buyers moving in, and so she agreed to have all of this plumbing taken care of. We helped guide her through that process. We were here in San Diego, she was not in the area, and so we were able to help with the process of bringing in the plumbers, ensuring that all the repairs after plumbing had been taking place had occurred, so making sure that the floor had been replaced and that the baseboards had been replaced and everything had been repainted. We helped to negotiate that with the buyer's agent so that we could then make sure that the cost was at a good price for our buyer. But it was still a huge cost for her, but trying to make sure that other potential repairs had not fallen onto her plate. But we helped guide her through that and ensured that these repairs were completed. We made sure that the buyer's visual inspection of the property was completed after all repairs had taken place so that we knew that everything was done. And yeah, that was off her plate and she didn't have to worry about it. But it was her obligation to make sure that those repairs took place. Another piece that you may be responsible for, if it's not written into the contract otherwise, is to make sure that all personal property is removed from the home. So sometimes if a property has a lot of items in it and it's not in great condition and there is no value in that property, and the client doesn't have any money to have these items removed, we will write into a contract that all remaining personal property conveys to the buyer. This is not always the scenario, but if, for example, we have an investment property, we know that the investors are just going to come in and they're going to gut the whole place, so we will write that into an offer like that. If we are in a situation where it's traditional buyers, we don't want to leave any personal property, and they don't want any personal property there. So it's important to make sure that personal property is removed, and we can help you with that. As the representative of the estate, you have a fiduciary responsibility to making sure that the home is well maintained and cared for, and that you are providing the best possible outcome for this particular scenario. One of the things that's important for you to do is to maintain communication with the beneficiaries. A lot of times our clients will ask us to communicate with them our updates via email because that gives them the opportunity to then forward that to all of the beneficiaries so that they are still keeping all beneficiaries informed about what steps are being taken to help prepare the estate for sale or to help sell the estate. So during the process, it's important for you to make sure that all beneficiaries are being told about what steps are happening. It is also your responsibility to coordinate utility shutoffs. We help our clients with this by telling them when it's time to shut off the utilities. Don't shut off the utilities until you've been told by your agent, in our situation anyways, because if you shut the utilities off too early and the buyers come in to do an inspection or to do a final walkthrough and there's no power, no water, that's going to cause problems. But it is important to know that you want to make sure that the utilities get shut off and taken out of the estate's name so that you are not held responsible for any costs after the close of escrow. Know that if you work with us, we will always help you with this process and share with you any information that you need regarding that. We will also send an email to the buyer's agent to let them know to have their buyers turn it back on. A side note on this, with insurance, do not cancel it until you've been told that escrow has closed. You'll also want to ensure that garage door openers, keys, maybe logins for Ring cameras and those sorts of things are given to the buyers at the close of escrow. When you are getting ready to close escrow, know that you're going to receive a final closing statement. And this is an important document that you're going to want to hold on to because you're going to need it for the probate process to show that yes, this property has been sold, what it was sold for, and any of the costs associated with that. Know that through this process, if you have an attorney and you have a real estate professional working with you, they're going to help guide you through all of these steps. You don't have to carry the weight all on your own if you choose to hire professionals to help you. Taking care of these details can help avoid delays, protect the estate, and help decrease the stress for everyone involved, especially you. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell button so you get informed of all of our future videos.